everyone, and welcome back to Magic Kingdom Keeper. So this is our second animal chat that I will have posted on this channel, and last time we talked about an animal that many people think would be too ugly to love. Hopefully I changed your mind, but some people might still think that. But today I'm gonna switch it around and I'm going to talk about an animal that is too cute not to love. And it is not this cute animal, although this will be the first time I think you guys have met Sigrun, who does not want to be held, but that's okay. She's not as much of a, she's not as much in the limelight as Dracula is, who, if you've watched any of my other videos, is my black cat. So, as I said, these are animals, just like my kitten right there, that are too cute not to love. So today we are talking about bearded emperor tamarins, which I'm sure you knew because you clicked on my video, but I am still gonna say it and I'm gonna show a cute picture. So we're gonna talk about some things about them, a little bit of history, where they came from, what they like to eat, some of their family structure, and I promise, my cats are messing with things, of course. I promise that I will put some cute footage in here and some cute videos so that you all will appreciate even more the bearded emperor tamarins, although, as I said, they're so cute that you don't have to know anything about them to like them. So, the bearded emperor tamarins were actually named after German Emperor Wilhelm II. I always say that wrong. And he has nothing to do with Emperor tamarins besides the fact that Emperor tamarins have rockin' mustaches, and apparently Wilhelm II has had an awesome mustache. So that is why they were named that, but these guys are not from Europe. They are actually from South America. They come from the Amazon basin in parts of Peru, Bolivia, and Brazil in the rainforests. And these animals are arboreal, which means that they spend a lot of time up in trees. They can go to the ground, definitely, but a lot of their food sources are way high up in the trees. And in the wild, these animals eat fruit, nectar, gum from trees, insects, small other animals like maybe small birds, small lizards, eggs. They kind of find whatever they want, and that brings me to the fact that these animals, the emperor tamarins, are omnivores, and an omnivore means that they eat both plants like an herbivore and they eat some meat kind of like a carnivore. Of course, they're not gonna be eating a crazy huge animal, but they are going to eat small meat. I can tell you from experience that the tamarins that I work with love bugs. They love bugs that they catch more than the ones I give them, which makes total sense, but I have seen tamarins catch little anoles. They have caught butterflies, moths, beetles, whatever they can find, and they are very good at catching insects, which I'll talk about a little bit later. So, we talked about what these animals eat, and then I'm sure you guys want to know how big they are, which is small. They are small. They weigh only a pound, fully grown, but at birth they weigh 1.5 ounces, which is not very much, I can tell you right now. And they are about 10 inches long from their head to their bottom. And then their tail is actually 16 inches long, so their tail is longer than their body. And unlike other primates from Central and South America, they cannot hold themselves by their tail. When animals can do that, we call their tail prehensile, which means their tail has the articulation, like your fingers, to hold your whole body weight. You'll be able to hang for it. So if you've ever seen a howler monkey or a spider monkey, those guys have prehensile tails. They're also prehensile-tailed porcupines, but besides the point, getting off on a tangent, I obviously love to talk about animals. So these tails are still very important because they help them balance in the trees. So these animals are leapers, so they do leap from branch to branch. They obviously can't fly. The only mammals that can fly are bats, but they also can't glide like a glider. They can't glide either, but they do leap from tree to tree. There are primates who, you know, use their hands to go from tree to tree, but these guys run on all fours and then they leap from branch to branch. So I talked about how they're arboreal. These animals are awake during the day, which is called diurnal. I'm sure you all have heard of nocturnal animals like an owl. Well, these guys are diurnal, which is what it's called when you're awake during the day, which is what I am. I know people who are awake more at night, but I am all about that sunrise, sunset schedule. So, these animals, they do live in family groups of 4 to 10 individuals. It doesn't technically have to be family, but I'm going to talk about why it's really important that they're family groups. So there's the male and the female together. So mom and dad, they have babies again, and sometimes they have babies again. And so when the juveniles grow up, they actually get to help with the childcare of the new infants, which is really important because that teaches them how to have their own family when they do eventually branch off. But it also helps mom and dad to take some of the load off. And something that's really interesting about tamarins is they usually do have the twins. They can have 3 infants, but a lot of times one of those will pass away. It is not always a viable individual. And they can also have 1, but it is way more common for them to have 2 individual infants. So they have these infants, and mom, of course, has to feed them, just like any other mammal. But dad actually takes them and they ride around on dad's back for most of the time when they are not feeding, and dad teaches them skills when they get older, like eating or how to leap. Dad helps them explore, and then also the juveniles do come in to help. And as I said, that's very, very important. So it's really, really cool. And another thing about tamarins that's really cool is they do something called delayed implantation, which means that when they are born, they can make babies right away again. So they have sperm left over, and that sperm will connect with an egg right away, so they can become pregnant right away, which is really cool. And that's what helps with those juveniles learning how to take care of animals or take care of their infants, because they're born so quickly after that once those previous infants grow up into juveniles, they can take care of their brothers and sisters, which is really neat. So that's some cool stuff. I don't think I talked about how tamarins are also a little bit different because the females are actually in charge, and it's usually the oldest female. So usually the oldest female is the one breeding as well. And so these societies are called matriarchal. Matriarchal? Pretty sure I said that right. And so that means a female is in charge. And of course, in a lot of animal species, they're patriarchal, which means a main male is in charge. But these guys are a little bit different. Another animal that is matriarchal is a lemur. You can see my ruffed lemur back here. So I will definitely do a video on them later because I have a lot of fun lemur information. So we talked about the family structure, we talked about why that's important, and I talked about food, and I probably should have talked about this when I was talking about food, but we've come back to it. Something that's really interesting about tamarins that helps them with their diet of eating insects and gum from trees is they actually have claws instead of fingernails. So most primates have fingernails like us, but tamarins and marmosets have claws, except for their big toe. These tamarins have a big toe that, this is my thumb, but I thought that would help. They have that big toe, which is like a normal nail. But these claws are really helpful because they can bore into trees, they can get those insects, they can get that gum out of the trees. So that is actually really important for what they eat. And something else that's really important is they actually live in a symbiotic relationship with other tamarins. So they have saddleback tamarins who live on a lower level of the trees. So tamarins live super high up in the trees. Saddleback tamarins live a little bit lower. And what happens is so the emperor tamarins, they're gonna eat food and they're gonna drop it. And the saddleback tamarins catch a lot of that food that they drop because they're wrestling around in trees, and you know, they're dropping fruit, they're dropping flowers, they might drop a bug. Goodness forgive, because they really like bugs, but they might drop them if they're anything like me. I drop things all the time. And so the thing that's really cool though is that since there are so many tamarins, if there's a predator around, they have a lot more chance of noticing the predator and making an alarm call so that they can run away when there's a predator. So it's a really cool system because the saddleback tamarins might get some food, and then the emperor tamarins are more protected because of the saddleback tamarins. So it's actually a really cool system. All right, so we've talked about cool facts. Somehow I talked way longer about naked mole rats, but here we are. So we've talked about 10 minutes about these animals, and if you have stuck around this long, I would think that you all probably care about these animals, maybe because they're cute, maybe because you like all monkeys or something I said makes you like these guys more, but they are technically of least concern right now as far as conservation. But that does not mean that we shouldn't care about them, because I believe I talked about this in the naked mole rat video, but you know, I talked about how the tamarins live with other animals, and if we are trying to help protect the forest... Oh, hi, Drac. You want to come up? Oh, your fans want to see you. Oh no, it's a butt. Oh, it's a Drac. All right. I'm an obnoxious cat mom, if you couldn't tell. Here's Drac. He wants to say hi, so he can hang out for as long as he wants to. They are protected in the Amazon basin in the nationally protected parks. But, you know, there's deforestation. Tamarins are also an animal, since they are so cute, that people want as pets. Oops. Tape does not work very well to put stuff up. Anyways, so the illegal pet trade is really important. And I can tell you right now, you don't want a tamarin. They smell, they like to scent mark things, they pee and they poop everywhere, and they and they get aggressive when they spend too much time around humans, because they get bolder, and tamarins might be small, but they have very needle-like teeth that can still hurt, and also they have nails, but besides the fact... Sorry, they have claws, which is worse than nails, I think. But besides that fact, I'm gonna tell you, if you ask me, that owning a wild animal as a pet is not a good idea, because it supports the illegal pet trade, and that is something that hurts animals in the wild. And we want to make sure that we keep the animals safe. Facilities that are trying to breed these animals for conservation are, you know, trying to help, but people who are just trying to own these animals for money or for prestige or just because they think they're cute is not something that is good for these animals at all. So I've talked about this for a long time, but I just want to make sure that we know that even if an animal is of least concern right now, that doesn't mean that's where they're going to stay, and we want to make sure we're protecting all of the other animals in that area. The Amazon basin has a bunch of biodiversity. They have a lot of animals, they have a lot of plants. It's a wonderful area, and it has a lot of really cool animals that hopefully we all want to save. So thank you so much for letting me ramble about conservation at the end of this, but I hope you enjoyed this animal chat. And if you do like this content, I do post animal chats every other week, and then it's Disney content on the opposite weeks. And if you like it, please like and subscribe. I don't expect to ever be a crazy big channel, but you know, I do appreciate the support, and I hope you all have a great day.